Welcome to UK elections and ethnic diaspora. Tomorrow, UK will be polling for a new government. But today, it is significant to see that the political parties in their last leg of canvassing also have not forgotten BAME voters, and specifically those from the Indian diaspora. So we have Prime Minister Cameron visiting Swaminarayan Mandir. We have Mr. Ed Milliband visiting the Swaminarayan Mandir and key BAME constituencies, and much more. Also, we will be talking to Gopi Hinduja from the Hinduja, one of the brothers from the Hinduja empires, commenting on this election, economy, Prime Minister Modi, and the relationship that UK and India should harness. So stay with us, because we have exciting stuff coming in UK elections and ethnic diaspora's last show.
So this is my ambition in 5 days. Fir ek baar Cameron Sarkar.
Prime Minister Cameron knows how to appease his Indian origin voters, a predominantly Gujarati crowd in the biggest Swaminarayan Mandir of London, during his recent campaign visit. In fact, all the main parties are trying hard to woo the black and Asian ethnic minority votes, and amongst them, Indian origin voters. After all, they form 615,000 votes out of the 4 million first-time voters born outside Britain. Prime Minister Cameron did not leave any stone unturned to say all the right things, from talking about the importance of the Indian diaspora in the UK to pitching for Prime Minister Modi's visit to the UK.
And I want to welcome Prime Minister Modi to Britain at the earliest opportunity.
This is David Cameron's third visit to this temple in his premiership, this time with his leading party members.
You saw the size of the congregation. You know, within our community, we know the strength of the feeling and the sentiment towards the Prime Minister from the Swaminarayan Temple as well. So it has been a genuine privilege and a joy to have him here today. It really has.
615,000 Indian origin voters in this general elections in the UK, and look at the numbers who have come to listen to Prime Minister David Cameron, who is visiting the Neasden Temple here, the Swaminarayan Mandir. The next door Mandir was visited by Mr. Ed Milliband, and now is Prime Minister David Cameron. Definitely we can say this is a significant vote, and this election is just neck to neck.
Conservatives have pledged that they will support India's case to get a seat in the UN Security Council and will make it a part of the European trade deal. In addition to this, they have even released a black and Asian ethnic minority specific manifesto and a song in Hindi. Though the ethnic diaspora does not vote in bloc, yet Labour has been their traditional favourite, and some say this is changing. The Indian diaspora vote slowly but gradually is moving towards the Tories. Labour is doing their best to retain their loyals by their ethnic diaspora specific manifesto. Leader of opposition Labour Party's Ed Milliband is making huge efforts to seek support from the Indian community. He too visited another Swaminarayan Mandir in London, and a usual quiet and low-key campaigning in the UK turned into a colourful and musical event.
In the Neasden Swaminarayan Mandir, Prime Minister Cameron for the third time. What's happening? The Mandir and the Prime Minister seem to now have some sort of a bond almost.
Well, it's always nice to have the British Prime Minister visit the Mandir. Throughout the 20 years of the Mandir, high-profile visitors, religious leaders, cross-party, multicultural, multi-faith communities participate in the temple, and that's what makes the temple very special, because it is open to everyone.
I think it is very effective for any Prime Minister or anybody to come to our Mandir, because we represent a significant proportion to the British economy.
While Cameron and Milliband have been visiting temples, Lib Dem's Nick Clegg found the way to votes through their tummies. He went all the way to Cardiff to cook Indian curry in a Bangladeshi restaurant.
I'm going on a sort of culinary tour of the... And is this your...
There seems to be no doubt that this election's political parties in the United Kingdom are making their best bet to convert the undecided ethnic minority vote to their favour, which in many constituencies can even sway the final results.
From showing faith in the Hindu philosophy of karma to saying that he's looking forward to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Britain, and also personalizing Ab Ki Baar Modi Sarkar to Phir Ek Baar Cameron Sarkar, Prime Minister Cameron hit right notes with the people of Nizen Temple of Indian origin, specifically the Gujarati people. Whether these notes turn into a melodious song of victory for him on the 7th of May or not, only 7th of May and probably the 8th of May we'll get to know. But one thing is for sure, that the Indian population, the Indian origin diaspora is gaining its influence in the UK and is becoming more and more significant with every passing election.
With Bureau Reports, Headlines Today.
Prime Minister David Cameron has just released the Conservative Party manifesto for the 14% ethnic diaspora in Britain, and I have the pleasure of his company on UK elections and ethnic diaspora show, daily show of us. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Great to be with you.
Okay. You have said 20% of a lot of things, student apprenticeship till 2020. Is this a reservation, or do you have a plan how you will secure this number?
It's an ambition with a plan. So if we take, for instance, getting more ethnic minorities into our armed forces, we're setting up cadet units in hundreds of state schools to encourage people to think of the military as a career. With the police force, we have a new organisation to help get ethnic minority candidates into the police. With jobs, apprenticeships and universities, we're already doing quite well, and it's about building on success. We're setting the ambition, we have the plan, we can deliver the results.
Okay, brilliant. You said that the Conservative Party has the highest number of BME candidates, which is true, but a survey in UCL suggests that those in effective seats are less. It's just 5%, while those of Labour and Lib Dem are higher.
No, I think that's wrong, because overall we have the highest number of black and minority ethnic candidates, but the crucial figure is in the seats where an existing Member of Parliament is retiring, what is the percentage? And for the Conservative Party it's 18%. So that's in seats like William Hague's seat, which is the safest seat I think in the entire country. There's a very talented British Indian candidate who will be the next Member of Parliament. So I think if you look at the retirement seats, that shows the real commitment to changing the face of the House of Commons, and the Conservative Party is playing its role in that very, very strongly.
On UK elections and ethnic diaspora, I have the pleasure of having the Leader of Opposition, Mr. Ed Miliband. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Great to be with you.
Thank you. You have released a BAME manifesto, and so did the Conservatives. They've come up with targets of 20% on X, Y, everything. What would be your targets?
Well, our manifesto has been called by an independent organisation the most radical manifesto for the BAME community ever produced in the United Kingdom. And I'm very proud of our manifesto. We're going to have a race equality strategy across every government department. So we break down the barriers to discrimination wherever they exist. In employment, in education, in business, in every walk of life, in politics too. You know, I'm proud of our record on BAME MPs, but we have further to go. And I won't rest until we look like the country we seek to serve in terms of the Labour Party. So I'm very proud of our radical manifesto, judged to be the most radical and progressive by independent organisations.
A lot has been done to attract the 4 million first-time voters. Do you think you'll be able to turn the events?
Well, I do believe that young voters in particular will be supporting Labour, many young voters, because of what we're saying for young voters. We're going to guarantee a job for every young person who's been out of work for more than a year. We're going to cut the tuition fee from £9,000 to £6,000. We're going to guarantee apprenticeships for our young people. And only today we're talking about how we can have a fair deal for those young people who are looking for housing. building more homes in our country and helping those who rent their homes for a much better deal, much more security for what I call generation rent, those generation of people who've been forgotten, many of them young people. So I believe our manifesto for young people and for the BAME community is a manifesto very much worth supporting.
It was thought that why would we need a manifesto when we are wanting integration?
We want integration, and we want BAME, people from every walk of life, to be taking their role in our society. But there's two views. Some people will say that barriers to discrimination don't exist anymore. That's not my view. My view is there are barriers to discrimination, and while those barriers exist, I'm determined to break them down. That's why we've got a BAME manifesto, and I'm so proud that it's been recognised as such a radical document.
Stronger economy and fairer society, opportunity for all. This is what Deputy Prime Minister Clegg, leader of the Lib Dems, has been telling everybody. But we did not know that he's also a keen curry cook.
Well, I will try my hand at being a curry cook, but whether I'll be any good is, I will leave that to you to judge.
Okay, now all the parties, major parties have come with a BAME manifesto, while the Lib Dems have only spoken about the disability sector and the BAME. Why?
Well, I just think it's really important that, particularly at a time when there is so much scaremongering, so much of the politics of fear, look at the way in which UKIP sort of blames foreigners and immigrants for everything, wants to divide our communities. Look at the way in which the right wing of the Conservative Party wants to sort of turn Britain's back on the outside world. That there is at least one party, the Liberal Democrats, that says that we are going to stick to the decent British mainstream values of openness, of compassion, of mutual tolerance, of mutual respect, and that, one of the things I love about our country.
Okay. Now, education has been your forte. I know you have apologized for the tuition fee, but something for just the Indian students in the BAME sector is important is the post-study visa. Would you think you will be talking or working or pledging anything in that direction?
Yes, so Vince Cable, and we're in his constituency, and I have been working on this very closely. The approach that the Conservatives have taken is excessively strict, and we think that we should be giving special encouragement to those students from elsewhere, from India, from other parts of the world, who have an interest in science and technology and engineering and manufacturing and so-called STEM subjects, that they in particular are given a more generous treatment than the current visa rules imply, because we're not going to succeed as a country unless we're an open economy, and we're particularly open to the very best brains around the world.
Okay. India has been mentioned by the Conservatives, the Security Council and all that in their manifesto. What is your engagement of India policy?
Well, I was leading a major trade delegation as Deputy Prime Minister to India quite recently, and had a very helpful meeting with Prime Minister Modi, and I was very impressed. Well, of course, I was very impressed by a lot of what I saw and heard, but I was particularly impressed by Prime Minister Modi's personal commitment to giving India a more active leadership role in the environmental discussions which are taking place between now and this big conference in Paris towards the end of the year.
The values you have, values of service, of duty, values of believing in family, values of believing in community, values of believing in enterprise, these are the values we need more of in our country. They're at the heart of my plan to make our country stronger. British Indians give so much to Britain, helping to make our country strong. So please, stick with the plan that's working and stick with the government that's delivering the jobs and the livelihoods based on your values that we need for the future.
Well, look, I would urge people to turn out and vote on May the 7th. This is a big, once-in-a-generation election. If you care about this country working for ordinary people again, please turn out and vote Labour, because we're going to reward people's hard work with higher wages, we're going to give opportunities to our young people, and we're going to turn the NHS round. And under my premiership, we'll be an outward-looking country reaching out to the world.
If you want a Britain which is tolerant, which is open-hearted, which is generous-spirited, and a government which is anchored in the decent centre ground, which is stable and which is united, rather than lurching off to the right or the left, please vote Liberal Democrat.
It's time for a short break, and when we come back, we will be talking to Mr. Gopi Hinduja on economy, elections, and India and UK relationships, also Prime Minister Modi. So stay with us, and we will be back in a jiffy.
I think there has to be a better understanding. India has to be treated in the foreign policy totally different from the neighboring countries. You cannot compare India and the Indian neighbors in the same